Okay.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Field, and I have a special guest here today, Alex Garber.
What's up, guys? I identify as pretty conservative here, so it's good to get another opinion with Andrew, who's pretty liberal. So definitely good idea. So the Mueller report just came out, and after 2 years, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, he did do a lot along the way with like convicting some people, but it wasn't really for the Russia investigation. And then when it came down to it, he didn't indict anyone. So
Now, I'm very curious to see the overall cost over the 2 years, and I want to, in terms of money, how many walls we could have built with this Mueller investigation
well,
and
yeah,
everything. So
there was probably a good amount
a
of
good
money.
amount of money, and I told you there was no collusion to begin with, and now I heard what's it? He's the Republican senator from North Carolina.
Graham,
Yeah, Graham is now going to be prosecuting certain people part of the Mueller report for
like
I heard
taking too much money.
falsely accusing the president of treason and things like that. So we'll see in these next couple weeks how that plays out.
Yeah.
So definitely a big part. And recently, Department of Justice ruled that Obamacare is unconstitutional. What do you think that's gonna? What do you think that's gonna effect that's gonna have on within the next weeks?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I know they've been trying to take down Obamacare for a long time, and federal judges seem to go back and forth. Like they seem to knock some Trump stuff down. They seem to knock some Obama stuff down. I think it's going to have an impact, but I don't know how much. I don't know how much of an impact.
I think the Affordable Care Act is absolute garbage and should not have been implemented. And I hope that it gets taken down. That it's a terrible program. We need to steer less and less from these social programs. But with especially now with I think the Democrat Party is like the image is starting to turn into more and more socialist. I mean, I lost track of all these Democrats that are running, but
I know it's true.
like
There's
the
a lot.
forerunners, we got like Yang, Beto, I think. We
Yeah,
got and then Bernie Sanders, who identifies independent socialist.
yeah.
Um,
And then we have Cortez, but
yes,
she's not going
Cortez.
to be
Yeah,
running.
she's not, but she's a freshman in Congress and everything.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, she's actually come under fire recently. Cortez with her what's this Green New
Green
Deal?
New
The
Deal.
New
Yeah.
Deal. Yeah, I haven't read too much into it. So what really is that? I just heard that it's
Um,
terrible.
I think that like the most basic output of it is that it's a 10-year plan and it's trying to eliminate like us to not use any like to use alternate sources instead of non-renewable sources like coal, oil, and natural gas.
So I wanna. So is there like a what's the time frame for this? Is it 2030? Like
I think it said 10 years, so
10 years?
maybe
10 years?
maybe they start at
Wow.
2020, then 2030. Yeah.
Well, I'm like if you look at like these electric cars, like especially Tesla, you're getting government subsidies for I think that's what it is. Money off your car for electric car. I think that's great and all. Um, you know, I think global or climate change is real, and I definitely think it's real. But is it a threat as of now? Is kind of up in the air. Um, but I don't see this Green Deal as being. I don't think it's ever gonna pass. I mean, I heard it's like kind of being shuffled up right now, in terms with bipartisan support and everything. But um, I just think that the economic hit from taking out, like look at all these, like I just like the automotive industry, Chevy, Dodge, every American things like that. I think it's going to take a big economic hit, and especially now. I mean, what we just hit 3.1 GDP, the highest ever. I
Yeah.
think economically in America's itself, we're doing much better, and I think that we need to start focusing, you know, from that aspect to towards like, um, we're coming up on the, re-election, and I think Trump really needs to secure down on this border wall. Which, speaking of that, he did just get $1 billion approved to begin construction, but I know that's nowhere near his I think what's his newest 8.4 billion is what he wants.
I don't know.
I
Last I
heard.
heard it was like 6 billion.
Yeah, I think the most recent one is asking is 8.4 billion
But
for his wall, and he just got 1 billion. So it's a step in the right direction, but it's gonna be a lot of fighting to get this wall, and if he's gonna get it done in time, amazing. But I really don't think he's going to get it done in time.
yeah, I don't think he's going to either. And with what you're saying with the Green New Deal, it is true that it would be a big economic hit, and they don't have a lot details about the deal yet. But I think that it would be an economic hit, but it's something that we have to take because for generations we've been trying to do things and we were getting in the right direction. And I know that it's oblivious to say, but I think Obama had a really good agenda going with climate deals and especially the Paris Climate Agreement, and seemed to go have a lot of things going, and then Trump knocked it all down. So I think this would be something that we need to do. I think it's too ambitious. I don't think we can do it in 10 years. I think maybe in 20 years, like 50% in 10 and 100% in 20. But I think it's something we need to do with the crisis at hand.
Okay. So other news, we got New Zealand. Let's bring up the topic here. New Zealand. I'm seeing a lot, especially on these liberal pages places. A lot of people are applauding New Zealand for banning the sale of semi-automatic assault rifles within 48 hours of the attack. Now, Andrew, thoughts on that and how it translate to America and current what's going on now?
Yeah, thank you. So, I think it's a lot harder for us to do something like that because of our population size being much bigger, and we have in the Second Amendment the right to bear arms, but there's nothing in there for assault rifles, and I think that it would be much better to limit these type of weapons because there's no real reason for people to need to have assault rifles.
Yep. So yeah, people, especially people in America, they're like, why can't we do this? Well, we have more weapons than we do people in the United States. I think what the most recent total is like 350 million weapons, some crazy number like
Really?
that. I think it's more weapons than citizens. So being able to seize all those weapons, and that's not even counting the ones that aren't like documented or
Yeah, yeah, legal.
legal and everything like that. And I don't think this as of now within like maybe the next 4 years, I don't think the semi-auto weapons are going to be banned and everything. And I'm sure like people have heard this a lot, but we banned heroin, meth. People are still doing heroin and meth. We have a big drug problem going on,
Yeah.
which again a wall could definitely solve. More money towards like ICE and border patrol, get these drugs cracked down. We ban drugs, but people are still doing drugs. If we ban guns, people are still going to get guns in, especially over 330 million weapons. Not going to work out. New Zealand, totally different case. No Second Amendment. I don't know what their population size roughly is, or their gun. I know it's going to take a while for them to seize all those weapons, or if they are going to. But I know right now it's just a ban of assault weapons, and definitely something to look forward to within these next 6 months and everything. So
Yeah.
with the ongoing crisis of mass murdering. So
Well, you don't think that it's a crisis?
I don't think it's. I mean, I think it's a crisis with this. I mean, I don't want to say ideology, but like it's not here. It's not a gun crisis. It's a people crisis. I mean, this it's there's no I don't want to say there's no way to stop it because I think there's a few solutions, but you can't stop a crazed man with intentions like that. I mean, did you read his letter he wrote before?
The
Yeah,
manifesto?
he
That was like a couple hundred pages,
yeah.
right?
Oh well, like brief explanation to it is basically his goal was to divide even more, and
Mm-hmm.
the media isn't helping with that. I mean, they're dividing even more. I mean, look at just everything going on right now. I think we're becoming more and more divided with things like this. So uh, definitely a problem I'm foreseeing with this liberal agenda continuing. So,
Well, I don't know about that. I think that like it's just more extreme. I don't think it's necessarily all of the right's fault. It's just that like select individuals that like feel that they want to divide more by causing these actions, and so it wouldn't solve everything to ban assault rifles, but I mean like people would still be able to have pistols, hunters would be able to still have shotguns and snipers, and I think that it'd be much better for like someone running with a pistol versus a AR-15 that can be like customizable.
um, have you ever secured like shot a gun, used guns?
No.
Never shot a gun. Well, um, uh, basically, how you're saying like, okay, we can keep pistols and everything. Don't underestimate the damage a pistol could do. I mean, yes, there's a wide variety of pistols. I mean, and like it can still cause lots of damage. Yes, AK, semi-automatic military assault rifles seem to be, more dangerous, but you can still cause a lot of death with a pistol. Yes, it's maybe a smaller magazine size, but you can get multiple magazines
Mm.
nowadays. And I know that's what some Democrats are trying to crack down on is, um, you know, how much ammo one can have with their weapons, which again is being fought over whether it's a right and everything like that. Like I saw in California, they're like in certain places they're banning the sale of ammo, which gun advocates, especially the NRA is like crying out for this to be a bigger deal and attention because it's infringing on rights, which is just a whole nother topic as itself. But don't underestimate the damage a pistol could do against a room full of helpless people. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, I mean a hedge. I mean, if I don't know if you watched the video of the New Zealand shooter. I don't know if you watched,
Like
but
the Facebook post.
yeah, that I mean,
Mm.
a bullet is a bullet to the head. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do. He went around and shot multiple people while they were down. I mean,
Yeah,
just it's not a thing you can banning all guns not going to help. Criminals are still going to get guns. So
and in the U.S. is not gonna do that. Like it's
yeah,
gonna be too hard to remove this such a high amendment. Like if it was
exactly.
like the 20th or something.
Yeah, something like that. But it's I hear the argument all the time like, oh yeah, but our founding fathers didn't have they had muskets, not semi-automatic rifles. That's not the point. You hear people complaining, you're so paranoid of a government takeover. Hey, we can be paranoid over whatever we want, but that's all right, and we're just gonna keep it that way. So,
I mean, I think that my personal biggest concern is like that. It helps divide the country to have all these guns around, and like when they wrote this, like we were in the middle of a war, so I mean, it's kind of like different times. So it's not. It doesn't seem that much of a necessity.
I guess so, yeah. So that's definitely a big. I mean, even I'm gonna say, well, let's say worst case scenario, Donald Trump doesn't win. Democrats have a House and the Senate. I don't think there's any way they're going to, um, you know, take any of our gun rights and everything because I know there's a whole legal process over that. So,
Oh,
um, yep. Any other news we got?
no, I don't think.
Let's talk about RGB for a second. Where has
Oh
she
my
been? I mean,
gosh.
she's back.
Yeah,
She was
she's
on.
back.
Hey man,
This is a
she's
Supreme
running.
Court
She's
justice.
running out of time. I mean, I think she should personally retire.
I think there is a problem with Supreme Court justices, like
Mm,
where no, I mean like where there's not like a term limit and that like they can go on until they die basically. And I think that it seems like they can have too much power then because they can be there for like 50 years.
yep, I definitely see what you're saying with the term limit, and maybe I would be for a term limit. Um, but I don't know a whole lot of background on it. But let's say worst case scenario, RGB suddenly happens to pass away. I mean, hopefully not. I'm not wishing death upon anyone. That'd be awful. Oh, God bless her soul. But if you look at the Donald Trump to replace RGB, who would you think? I'm thinking that judge from Fox News that's
Mm.
currently under pressure right now for criticizing. Islam, I believe.
Well, I definitely would be a conservative judge, and that would
Hmm.
definitely tip the scale. With him already putting Kavanaugh, conservative judge, up there,
Hmm.
so yeah, it would be kind of interesting. But I think that now that the Democrats own the House, I don't know if they would be able to really stop that conservative judge. So I don't really know, like if the Democrats could really do anything against it.
Yeah.
So
Um, yeah, that basically, that basically, sums up, these past couple of days have been pretty interesting.
yeah,
Um, it's a lot of big wins for the Trump administration, a lot of big good wins. Um,
yeah, it has been.
Michael Avenatti.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he tried to, with Nike. He was currently, placed under arrest. Um,
Was it 20 million?
something like that. A large amount for I think blackmailing Nike, I believe, or some sort of
Yeah,
extort thing.
extort. Yeah,
Yeah, extortion. I I saw on Donald Trump Jr.'s Instagram page. He said, Michael Avanti tweeted, "Mark my words, Donald Trump will be arrested. By his birthday. I believe it was a tweet over a year ago, and I mean, look who just got arrested. So I think it's pretty funny, and
yeah.
can't wait to see where that goes. Hopefully, he gets some good time in jail for that. We also Jussie Smollett
Oh yeah.
was just it. This is very very interesting. A lot of theories are coming out right now. With 16 felony charges, all of a sudden dropped.
I think it's because he was the star of the show, so they were considering canceling the show, but it seems like with these charges being dropped that they're just like, they let it go on for a while and then like let the news go under the rug, and then now they're gonna drop the charges, and then he's probably still gonna be like the star of the show.
I don't think he's going back to the show. First of all, this is a great example of privilege. Look, like this is ridiculous. He should be in jail
I
against
agree.
all 16. I mean, the fact that I don't see how anyone could support him anymore. I mean, he totally tried his best to divide this country, and bipartisanly, both parties should definitely condone that
Yeah,
kind of action. That was ridiculous, and I actually believed it, for a little
I did
bit
too.
before I looked into the details. I mean, polar vortex. You know, who's gonna be out in a polar vortex? It's coming back from a subway. Like 3 in the morning, like everything like that. And then I just loved how that story played out. It totally looked bad on the Democrat Party. Trying to frame the alt right. Calling just a total racial divide. Um,
And it was all because he wanted more for his
exactly,
salary.
exactly, which is crazy. But the fact that I'm gonna wait for more details, but
Hmm. Yeah.
16 felony charges drop is definitely interesting. There's something definitely behind the scenes. Um, Actually, the prosecutor did receive $408,000 before.
Are you serious? They
Yeah,
paid him off?
I. That's what it said. The prosecutor was received $408,000. I read that.
Jeez.
So this will be definitely interesting to watch it play out. Uh, a lot of things going on right now. Internationally, let's look at 747 planes.
The
Yeah,
737
or
Max 8.
737. I keep saying 747. Oh, that's a dual engine plane. That's yeah. This is you know definitely very sad that both these planes crashed and everything. No survivors, but um kind of interesting that the United States took a bit of time to ground these Max 8 planes afterwards. Kind of a little bit concerning, but
Yeah, I thought.
I hope they'd be playing by a little better safe than sorry. And I heard um, not a whole lot. They recovered the black box. Studying it right now. I think somewhere in Europe, and the I believe Southwest, American Airlines, and United Airlines all met with their pilots to be trained on this new software program with the 737 Max 8s, and how to handle it. So definitely a topic to look forward to. Cool.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't think that they should have to. It seems like it's the software's kind of bad for these like autopilots to suddenly dip the plane down. Like that seems like it's more likely to crash, but it seems like the plane companies just want to keep moving with it.
Yeah, Boeing. They're. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about planes, but what I read into is that upon takeoff, there's an instrument in the front of the plane that detects the elevation and of the plane and can correct it if it's too low or too high to prevent stalling, which sounds great, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that it's completely computerized towards the front of the plane, and that like in this instance, it looked like it went haywire, and can completely tilt the nose of the plane down right after takeoff. And as a pilot, there's, I mean, manual override, but I heard that the Lion, the Indonesian one the first one that crashed, they only had 40 seconds to react, and as a pilot, that is not a whole lot to.
And that was probably before it got to like a high enough
Exactly,
altitude.
yeah. So there wasn't a whole lot they could do there. So definitely concerning, but it looks like they're fixing it, working it. See if Boeing releases a new statement anytime soon. We'll cover that. So, all right.
An interesting thing I found too is that Boeing was an American company, so I think that
Yeah.
they're really hoping that America like wouldn't ground these planes.
Yeah, I think they're based out in Seattle, right? Yeah, Seattle,
sure.
Washington. I actually actually read their where they make and manufacture the planes. It's so large. The the warehouse to make the planes is so large that sometimes they will actually form clouds in the where they manufacture the plane. It actually has its like own like little system and everything. I thought that was really cool. I read that a while ago, but great for them. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
All right. Does that about wrap it up? Anything else? Any other topics?
I think that's
all right. About wraps everything. It up. Okay. All right.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, and don't forget to vote for your favorite president for re-election.
Just vote for whoever aligns with your views the most, and think will do the best for your country.
All right, sounds good.
See ya.